I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting of the town of Saugeen Shores. And first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and I'll remind you of your responsibilities. The next is we have no additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda. And so we go to adoption of minutes, and it's been adoption of the regular minutes and special council minutes of February 26th. It's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Nodge. The council adopts the minutes of the regular council and special meeting of February 26, 2018 as presented. Mayor's remissions. All in favor? Carried. Next item is committee of the whole minutes. It's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayette and seconded by Councillor Grace that Council note and file the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of February 26, 2018. Questions, errors? All in favor? That's carried. So we move down to report of the committee of the whole. And it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Community Services Parks and Recreation Report dated February 26, 2018, recommending that the Council authorize the purchase of an in-ground waste containers for a pilot project in select locations at a cost of up to $25,000. And further, that this pilot project be financed through the Development Charges Reserve Fund and the Future Capital Projects Reserve Funds. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just would like to reiterate my concern that I expressed at Committee of the Whole 2 weeks ago, and the only reason I raise it again is because of things we have heard since then that heighten my concern with doing this. As you'll recall, my comment was that adding items midstream after the capital budget is approved creates, in my view, and I've heard about it in the past from the administration, difficulty in terms of implementing our approved capital budget, a budget we approved now 4 weeks ago. We've heard in the last 2 weeks now that indeed we are starting to see slippage in terms of the capital budget implementation. The Coliseum project, which was a 1-year project 4 weeks ago, is now a 2-year project. The administration's ability to implement these projects as approved in the budget is slipping. And I'm concerned that if we continue to add projects, that we'll continue to see slippage. And what we need to see, in my view, is the budget implemented. And there are some difficult projects in the budget. Some projects, you named the beach house as an example, a project which we have said we want to complete it in June. And if we continue to add things to the Department of Community Services, can we be confident that those projects that we want completed in that time frame get completed? I'm concerned that we may not be able to. So I would encourage Council again to draw a line and say we won't approve new projects or ask the administration to complete new projects over and above that series of projects that we approved during the capital budget process. So I will, of course, be repeating my no vote on this item. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comments? All in favor? Opposed? Hated. So the next item on the agenda then is Communities of the Whole report for February 26, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Committee of the Whole report dated February 26, 2018, recommending that Council direct the Mayor to seek intervenor status at the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission's public hearing for the purpose of expressing the Town of Saugeen Shores support for Bruce Power's license renewal application. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Oh, it's the next item then is report of municipal officers. The next there is a staff report with it, and this one is to do with Coulter Park at Pavilion. It's been moved by Councillor Riggs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, that Council authorized $28,115 to offset the remaining funds from the Parks Reserve to supply the pavilion at Coulter Parkette. Any questions or comments? Vice Deputy Mayor Huber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be voting against this for a couple of reasons, but one of them is that this additional deletion from the Parks Reserve Fund would then mean that based on a report we received a couple of weeks ago, we took $235,000 out of the Parks Reserve last year, which left an estimated amount of about $100,000, a little bit more than $100,000. We've allocated in our budget process already this year $56,750 to come out of the Parks Reserve, which leaves an estimated balance of about $47,000. So to now take out $28,000, we're leaving less than $20,000 in a Parks Reserve. That would mean that in the space of about 2 years, we will have, for some good projects, albeit investments in the future, we will have depleted 2 Parks Reserve funds down to less than $20,000. I went back very quickly this afternoon and looked back at Coulter Parkette conversations that have happened around this table, going back to 2013 when the BIA wanted to do something. We talked about a $40,000 project at the time that they would basically fund along with some partnership funding. Well, that didn't happen. Then in 2014 we talked about a project that was about $150,000 worth of investment, I think, $100,000 from the BIA and Spruce to Bruce to the Chamber, and a $50,000 loan from the town over a repayment over a 10-year period. That didn't happen. In 2017, I think we finally realized it was time that we did something. So we did a budget situation last year of $145,000 coming from the town. All of it was coming from reserves. And then in April, we got a request that was basically suggesting that the project was over budget, and there was also some requests coming in from the BIA related to a water feature and a pavilion covering. There was a comment made that they were expected to cost about $55,000 or $56,000, and the BIA was willing to come up with $5,000 a year for 5 years, up to $25,000. And we thought, based on the report that we received, that we could realize some cost savings in the other part of the construction that would potentially match the other $25,000. Well, now we're looking at, we already took in July, an extra $17,655 from Parks Reserve on top of what we'd already decided with the $145,000. And now we're being asked for even more. I understand, that now the high school's involved, and I get that, and I really applaud initiatives that include high school students in installations in town, because I think they have much greater chances of less vandalism when the kids have built them themselves. So I get that. What I don't understand is, we thought we had a project and we put an amount there, and then we had a report and whatever, and then now we're getting another report and the dollar figures are going up. At some point we just have to say, wait a second. And it bothers me that this Parks Reserve, that we've just taken everything out of it in 2 years, and we have no plan as to how to replenish that, because that Parks Reserve fund where this is coming from is not the one where cash in lieu generally ends up. So this is something that it's got to come from someplace else, and it's worrisome that we're depleting it so fast. And I also question the idea behind the parkette was to open up the space, and certainly it seems now like we're just filling it up, and the space now is still encumbered by a lot of structural elements that I don't think was the original intent. So I would suggest that we should really think about this, and that perhaps this is not the place to spend more money from the Parks Reserve. Thank you.
Councillor Minaj.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'd like to commend the Vice Deputy Mayor for the work that she put into going backwards in time and looking at this. I'd also like to ask the Deputy Mayor if this financial impact is similar to the one that he just said we shouldn't be doing. And if it isn't, then I'd like to understand why. And then third, I'd like to say I'm not in favor of taking the $28,000 and saying that we'll take that on. As a minimum, I believe the BIA is to be commended for their actions and their activities in downtown Port Elgin, and that they can help. This amount of money is not it's not a staff issue, it's not a council issue, it's not a BIA issue, it's a combination. So in my opinion it is, and that we should be able to, if you want, I can do a motion to defer. The staff can go back and negotiate some additional funds, but otherwise I'll vote no at spending the additional money. Thank you.
Any further comments? Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a 2017 project that we've yet to complete, and I'd like to see it completed. Recognize that the funding that we allocated in the budget in 2017 was not enough, apparently, to complete it, although I think will leave a significant hole in Coulter Parkette where this has been planned for in the present construction for the foreseeable future. If we don't construct it, staff have, the administration has done its best, gone to tender, worked extremely hard. I would point out the Department of Community Services has to try to bring this number down. The original quotes were much higher than this, much higher than this. They went out and did everything they could to get us a number that was close to something we could accept. You know, this is the fruits of all that work. So I don't think you'll do a lot better. I don't know how much better you could do. You've got free labor and as good a contract on the materials you're going to get. It's a scaled down version of what was built at Ferry Lake, which was a project that cost us nearly $200,000. So, I mean, you know, scale it to that size and you're going to pay about this much. So I think I don't like spending extra money more than anybody else does, but to complete this 2017 budgeted project, I think we should spend the money and get it done. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Mike Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I agree with our with our deputy mayor, not with our vice deputy mayor, but with our deputy mayor. I take a look at that Parks Reserve, and a little bit of involvement with that over the years. But you know, we build that reserve over time, waiting for that special day to come along where we're able to purchase something real special for the community, and that's a 150-acre parcel of land that, you know, over 1,200 ball players in this community have spoken to a fair number since that decision was made, and they're ecstatic. That was a real good purchase we made. We're making good use of that Parks Reserve money. That's not money we're throwing away. And we're taking a 150-acre parcel of land that we're going to be using for various things, not just for a ball complex. So that's what that fund's for, in my view. So let's not say that was money poorly spent. That was money well spent. The $104,000 quote, you know, originally for that part, Buddy Halpin from the high school, hats off to him. He's coming in for $40-some thousand to complete that project. It's significant savings there. This is an opportunity. We're using Buddy Halpin and his school kids up there, students, to build something real special for Coulter Parkette. I'm a member of the BIA as the council representative, and there's a whole lot of businesses downtown Port Elgin who are very pleased about this project. And it's been 2 years in the making. In my view, it's time to get it done. I think the longer we delay this project, that cost is only going to go up. So I think Coulter Parkette is a real good project, and I think we are spending our reserve funds wisely. Thank you.
Councillor Rich, I'll get you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So I would also say that I'm in favor of completing this project. $42,000 may sound like a lot of money, but Saugeen Central School built an outdoor classroom also using the high school students. It costs over $20,000. It's not nearly going to be as big as this is going to be. So I think that although it seems like a lot, I think that the pricing is something that we do need to complete.
Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I agree with Vice Deputy Mayor Huber and Councillor Menage. I'm kind of upset that the budget itself has been able to go over cost that much. We usually keep a good eye on stuff like that, and it's brought back to council. So for that to have ballooned to the price it was should have been brought forward to us. And I also agree with Councillor Minaj. Is there another way we can find funds, some savings somewhere else in order to fund this?
I think the CAO would like to speak to this issue.
Yeah, I just, through you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to be clear here that staff put together a budget for the project. The BIA came and asked for 2 items to be added to the project after the budget was done. They have offered to contribute $25,000, and staff, through their efforts, have dropped the price. I think it was over $100,000. The cost now for those 2 elements that the BIA is willing to contribute $25,000 is $64,500. So there's a significant difference there that staff have been able to do. This request isn't through poor budgeting, through poor management. It's about the request not being fully funded by the requesters. Council gave us direction to proceed. We're at the point we are today. So I just want to make it clear, because it's feeling that staff have not managed this project well, and I want to make it absolutely clear that that isn't the case.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. And I think we've had enough discussion on this item. So, and I'm ready for the question then. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? That carries. So the next item then is the Grenville Street Capital Project. And it's been moved by Councillor Madsen, seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt, that Council authorized Keith Snyder Construction Limited be awarded the contract for Grenville Street, Peel Street, Adelaide Street Reconstruction Project, tender number 20818-6320-5890 in the amount of $254,684.50 plus applicable HST, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. Questions or comments? Councillor Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I discussed this a little bit with Amanda earlier, and it kind of goes along to what Councillor Mayette was asking. This is one of those last roads in town that is completely dirt, gravel, but we're only going to be paving half of it, and the half that's going to remain gravel is the wettest part. There's a natural spring that comes up through there. So I would like to know what plans we have to fix that part of the road. We're going to have gravel, then boom, back to dirt again.
Want to speak to that, Amanda?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this section that is being reconstructed is being done in front of the Grenville Estates development. It's being paid for by the developer. We're just facilitating the construction of it and feel more comfortable in this instance that we would run the contract for that developer. So it doesn't have anything, this part doesn't have anything to do with any of the work north of the Adelaide Street right-of-way, and that will be included in the roads assessments and needs that we do to determine our 10-year capital program that we'll be doing going forward.
Councillor Madsen?
Thank you. Would it be possible then to at least get a couple of truckloads of gravel to put on that? Because as I said, if you drive up there, it's just a dirt path.
That will be through our operations work. We can submit a service request for that. And see.
Any further comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So the next item is wheel loader purchase, and it's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau that Council authorize the purchase of a new 2018 John Deere 544K wheel loader from Nortrax Canada Incorporated for the tendered amount of $199,830 plus applicable taxes. Comments? Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support the resolution. I just wanted to make the comment. I appreciate it. I asked the administration for just a listing of their intended fleet purchases in 2018. You recall in the budget, we budgeted just a top-line number, $690,000 for all of the fleet purchases for 2018 without approving them line by line, which was fine. But I would hope that in future, when we get these to approve one by one, these purchases, that the administration would provide us with what their expected budget for these purchases was, so that we get an idea of whether we're going to meet our $690,000 budget or if we're going to miss it, or how that's proceeding, so that just council can monitor that as we would any other set of purchases, and I'd appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The next item is a staff report, and it has to do with the 70-foot aerial truck purchase, and it's been moved by Councillor Mike Myatt, seconded by Councillor Madison, that council authorize the purchase of a new 70-foot articulating over-center aerial truck from Altech Industries Limited for the tendered amount of $232,395 plus applicable HST. Comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried. And the last report then is the replacement of the Southampton Water Tower supply line, and it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Minaj, that council authorize that Cobide Engineering Incorporated, be awarded the engineering services contract for the replacement of the Southampton Water Tower supply line project FRP 2018-6320-5830 in the amount of $179,200 plus applicable HST, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. Comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. So next is motions, or bylaws, sorry. And the first has been moved by Councillor Madison and seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt, that bylaw 22-2018, being a bylaw to authorize a site plan agreement with 2086729 Ontario Incorporated, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 12th day of March 2018. Questions or comments? Councillor Minaj.
There's never a good place for this discussion, I suppose. I had the discussion with Linda before the meeting. We had the discussion at the last meeting. It didn't enter into the minutes. So we talked about the other things that are negotiable in a site plan agreement, and that I asked if there was a way we could see what the negotiated agreement ended up at. So there were 15 things from the one committee, there were 5 from another committee, that's 20. After we did the negotiation, 10 of them have been agreed to by us and the party, but there's not an appendix that says, here they are, this is what we agreed to. I'll give an example. Ultramar gas station in town, we had a beautiful site plan agreement that included a bench and 2 planters. Bench and 2 planters never came. So we have site plan agreements that are not being completed, and we do not really know what these, for the sake of another word, gentleman agreements between the developer and the office are. And I think that we should have some knowledge. So I would ask that, even though this might not be the place to do it, thank you for letting me speak, that we formalize, somehow we let the minutes show that I'm making a request, and maybe we need to do this in a different way, Mr. Mayor, you can advise me, that these negotiated agreements show what it is that both parties have agreed to. As it's not here, I read this, I do not see what those negotiated agreements are. How can we push this narrative to either you telling me, no, it's not ever going to happen, or yes, we might be able to do something?
Well, I'm not going to tell you it's not ever going to happen. I think you can talk to staff. I think, do you want to speak to it, Amanda, and then I can...
So I know in the copy on here, Schedule B has the listings of the plans, but if you want, we can make that available to you easier. That will show what they have to build, what's on those plans they have to build. So that's what's negotiated on it. So the idea of a bench, if it's on the site plan, landscape plan, then they can't get their securities back until that is on. So if you would like, we can try to make the drawings more available to these. We can attach those scheduled drawings to these agreements in the reports.
And I think, I suppose you could at a quarterly basis or so tell us when you have released when they fulfilled their duties from the site plan agreement that they've signed and released any securities that we hold.
Yes.
So then, any other questions? All in favor? So the next item then is a bylaw to authorize an agreement with Chanter Island Tour Office. It's been moved by Councillor Grace, seconded by Councillor Dave Myatt, that bylaw 23-2018, being a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with Marine Heritage Society for Chanter Island Tour Office, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 12th day of March 2018. Questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. And one more, it's a bylaw to amend the subdivision agreement with Lord Elgin Estates Development Limited, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, that bylaw 24-2018, being a bylaw to authorize the entering into of a subdivision agreement with Lord Elgin Estates Development Limited is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 12th day of March 2018. Excuse me. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. So, that's the end of our agenda. Then we have the next item is a close to public session, and it's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayette and seconded by Councillor Grace. The council move into a close to public session in accordance with bylaw 63-2016 under section 3.8.2b regarding personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, regarding the CAO's organizational update. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. So, I have a motion then. It's been moved by Councillor Mike Myatt and seconded by Councillor Madsen. The council arise from close to public session and resume a regular council meeting. All in favor? That's carried. And I have a motion that's moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Rich, that bylaw 25-2018 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 12th day of March 2018. All in favor? It's carried. And it's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau. This regular council meeting of March 12, 2018 hereby adjourned at 9:17. Favor? Adjourned.